Welcome to the Anything for Sports podcast. My name is Drew Jackson. Today with us, I have Sydney Chesnut with no T in the middle from Bishop Gorman High School. She is the captain of the girls basketball team and also runs track. Sydney, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump right into it. I want to get right to your background.
Okay.
Tell us how you started playing basketball.
Okay, great question. So when I was younger, my parents actually enrolled me in like an all sports basketball. I did competitive swimming for a really long time. I was actually good at it too. But I came in like I would be ranked like I always come in like first or second for my events. So I think that was actually pretty good at that. I did tennis, dance, hip hop, ballet, stuff like your parents always enroll your kids like growing up, like, oh my kid goes to dance,
Oh,
like
yeah.
stuff like that. But it never really like stuck with me. Like I liked swimming, but I wasn't like super passionate about it. I just kind of got really sick about it. And I just wanted to try something new. So my best friend at the time, Gabby Delacruz, who played at Coronado, we
Yeah.
were so close. We basically grew up together. Her dad started said he was going to be coaching. So I was like, okay, that'd be fun. And it ended up being for a whole new league called GYB, Girls Youth Basketball, which was just girls who like were new at the sport or who played basketball before. We're just getting together and like playing basketball, playing games, getting coached, and
Hmm.
just like we play at the Boys and Girls Club on the weekends. We would practice like Monday, Wednesday. It just really depended. It was so cool because they put together these teams and like you would play with girls that you never met before. And then like I remembered going in so scared because I did not touch a basketball before a day in my life. But it was just so much fun. There was other girls who were learning just like me. And like to this day, I'm still friends with the girls who I just started playing with. So it was really cool. And then I started getting through there. I was really scared at first, but when I started to play, I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like I love like being intense. I love shooting the basketball. Like I loved playing with my sister and like my dad and mom watching me. So I really started from that, like, and getting coached and being able to play with my best friend and like her dad coaching me and like that program in general. It just felt really empowering for like there was something for girls to do.
Right.
It wasn't like you played with boys and it's like you didn't really play. Like no one was really like, oh, she's a girl. Like just give her the ball. This
Hmm.
was like girls basketball only. No boys, just you get to play against other girls who want to play basketball too. And I remember playing in that all the way up to middle school, my 8th grade year. And then that's when I got into club, into like where I wanted to go for high school. I met virtually everyone who I know now in my life. And that's when I met all my coaches and that's when I realized like this is the sport I want to continue to play.
So what was it about basketball that made you kind of gravitate towards that? Because you kind of transitioned from like an individual sport where
Yeah.
it's just you
Mhm.
to like something that's more team oriented.
So what did it for me? I guess it was just like it was like the communication that got me. Like I said, I was like, I'm a really big talker, so you always hear me talking about something crazy. But I just loved being able to be a part of a team and just different backgrounds and being around different personalities of females. And it felt really good to be around and talk to girls who were shy or talk to girls who did talk a lot. And you got to bring girls out of their shell. And it was a really big confidence booster for me just because I had to work a lot more to like, catch up with girls or like lose weight, stuff like that. But it just felt really good to be able to be a part of a team that supported me and I just was overwhelmed by this immense support system. And just being able also to just play girls basketball, I just felt like this is something that not a lot of girls do, or a lot of girls were afraid to do.
Mhm.
And being a part of like GYB first, and like I love that that was my first part of being able to play basketball. It just really like took off from there, and just being able to work to where I'm at today. Like I loved working for basketball. Like I loved playing. I loved like the trainings and the lifting, and then it all paid off to play the game at the end. Like you work so hard throughout the week and then be able to play the game like, okay, I get to play. Hopefully we win. Like
Right.
this is it.
So at what point did you start to take it seriously where you're like, "Oh, this is something I really wanna, like, contribute actual time to?"
I think like a lot of people want to say like they were younger and they realized that, but I didn't. Like it was really different for me. I didn't realize I wanted to take basketball super seriously till I think after during COVID year. Cause when I was stuck at home, I
Mhm.
kind of had to like you kind of like had to fend for yourself at that point. Like me, my sister, my dad would take us running. Like I didn't really realize I loved basketball till then. Cause that's when I started to work out a lot, get in the gym, like when you could, when it was open, like work out with my sister, run around the neighborhood. I just didn't realize like this is exactly what I wanted to do until like everything got taken away. Like I didn't realize how much I missed it and missed seeing everyone and missed playing. Cause then the minute we came back, I was like, this is it. Like I get to
Yeah.
play again. Like this is like having that break, it just made me realize like how much I loved basketball and how much I loved like sweating for it and waking up early in the mornings for that workout.
It's one of those life stories, right, that you don't know what you have until you
Yeah,
lose it,
literally.
and
Like, I know.
luckily, you got to, like, turn around and get it not right back, but
Yeah,
it wasn't taken from you forever, but you got to
yeah,
experience, like, here's what life is like without basketball, and you're like, "Oh, no.
yeah,
Like, I don't like that.
right.
Now I'm gonna jump
Like,
in,
it
like, head
sounds
first."
cheesy, like, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, you never know what you have until it's gone," but it's like, to me, it literally I didn't know what I had to lose on, like, I didn't realize, like, how lucky and fortunate I was to play basketball and to play in the leagues and to, like, buy the gear, and then when COVID hit, it was all gone, and I was like, "Wow," like, that I don't wanna have to experience that again, so it was just like and it was more of the connection. I missed the connection and just, like, energy was so big for me playing basketball. It's just so different, especially when, like, you get to watch your friends, you get to cheer for your friends. I get to cheer for my sister. I get to, like, scream at her. We get to,
Yeah.
like, go against each other, so it's
I
fun.
think that's interesting because that's, like I've never looked at COVID that way, but it makes total sense of, like, usually when you lose something like that, it's an injury, right?
Yeah.
Like, an
Mhm.
injury takes something away from you, and then you're like,
Mhm.
"Ah, I wish I could get it back."
Yeah.
You kinda, like, got to go through that same thing, but without
Yeah.
having to go through anything, like, that traumatic, and then
Yeah.
just say like, "Oh, now I see, like, how important it was to me," and, like, again, being around teammates, and, like you said, even doing the little stuff from training to, like,
Mhm.
just getting new shoes and stuff,
Yeah.
like, it's all, like, one event that kinda builds up to something.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It was just a lot of people took COVID differently. Like, a lot of people are like, "I'm gonna just stay in my house," but I wanted to get out of my house every chance I got. Like, it was just I cannot be in here so long. I just had to do something. Like, we're a really active family, like, especially because since me and my sister are both in sports, it's just we couldn't stay home all the time. So it was like, what can you really do? I mean, no one was really doing sports. You couldn't really watch basketball. I guess you could watch old games. You can watch football. You can watch, like, old games too. It's just like they cut everything off. So it's like the minute everything got released back open again, it was just like, okay, now you have to work like twice as hard too because you don't know what everyone was doing over the break.
Right.
So
Let's talk about that relationship with your sister. So you guys are 2 years apart,
yeah.
but you still sounds like train together, somewhat
Hmm.
play together. Like, how's that journey been like? Because you kind of getting to, like, experience and find
Yeah.
your way through the sport, but kind of getting to watch her do the same
Hmm.
thing as you're still figuring it out for yourself. Like, what's that been like?
It's exciting. Like, my sister really is my best friend. Like, I don't know if a lot of people like to say that about their sister, but I love my sister. Like, we argue for sure, like normal siblings do, but it's like it's love. She's 2 years younger than me, so she's a sophomore right now. It's scary because like I'm a senior, so I gotta leave her. But especially growing up with her playing basketball, we've always been super competitive. And this just gave us one more thing to like bump heads about. But we really push each other in that way. Like I remember we had to play against each other one time and it was terrible. So bad. Like we didn't like we wanted to guard each other, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to guard you either. I just
Right.
want to talk trash to you after the game. But it's definitely like I have to she's she's more like I want to sleep in type of person. So I literally have to drag her out of the house to go live with me, or like I'll offer, I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to the gym. You want to come?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "No." We're like, "Let's go get shots up or something." Like I'll wake up. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to training in the morning." She's like, "That early in the morning?" Like my sister definitely works really hard for that, but it's like that part that's fun for us is like I like to wake up in the morning to do it. I'd rather do it in the morning because like, you have
Just
the
get
rest
it
of the
done with,
day.
yeah.
But she definitely like likes to sleep in a lot more and just like gets to do it later.
Okay.
But yeah.
So kind of picking up on your basketball journey and kind of where I met you and started following was that sophomore going into junior
Hmm.
year summer. You played for the Storm.
Hmm.
Talk to me about what it was like kind of joining that program and what that summer experience was like for you.
So at first I definitely remember being scared because I never really played club basketball like that. I didn't really know what club was, but I saw a bunch of girls playing basketball over the summer. So I was like, I want to do that too. And so that was the part where I was like, after COVID, yeah. So I was like picking up basketball. I love this. I want to keep playing. I played for Storm, which got me a lot of exposure too, like meeting you and like meeting a bunch of other coaches and friends, like friends I go to school with now and like coaches that are still part of my life. It felt like competition in the summer was just so different compared to high school. Like I just now think about it, like I think about it like all the time. It's like I want to play club again.
Yeah.
Like you just get to play all the time. You're not really worried about like I guess like having to wake up for like a high school practice or something like that. But it's like you go, you play with a bunch of girls who come from different schools. You get together one time over the summer, play, and like you go out of town, play a bunch of other like competitors, like girls from different skill levels and get a bunch of exposure, seeing all these coaches. It was so crazy, but it's like the best experience ever. Like I remember going to tournaments in California. That was crazy. I played against a bunch of girls who were like 2 times taller than me, like, so much better than me, but it's like it was so much fun. Like, yeah, you lost some, won some, but it's like at the end of the day, it was like it was so cool. So I really enjoyed Storm being like my first team that I played for. given the fact that they had a really good program when I first came and that they knew well, like, they had really good coaches who knew that they were what they were doing, so and, like, they split us all up evenly, and I gotta go out of town a lot, and then I gotta play with my sister that played on, like, the younger team, so we
Mhm.
all gotta, like, watch each other, and I think that's, like, when I got really competitive with it too, because you get to play against everyone, and it was just I love traveling, like, I love being like I wake up and I'm like, "I gotta go to the airport today,
Yeah.
going to Chicago for this big Nike tournament,"
Yeah.
and it's, like, coaches lined up everywhere, and it's like, "Wow." It's like it's not nerve-wracking, it's like, I get it, like, it's like, so exciting.
I think it gives you that experience of, like, setting a baseline too, because when you only play local, like, you don't really know how good you are, and,
Mhm.
like, how does my game translate
Right.
to the next
You play
level?
against
When you
everyone all the time.
Yeah, and so you get to see, like, okay, I'm really good at the level I'm
Mhm.
on, and you go to a huge tournament where you got girls on even higher levels, and you're like, "Oh, there's even higher
Yeah.
competition," like I always say, there are levels to this,
Yeah.
and then you kinda get to say, like, "Okay, here's where I'm at. Okay, now I know some things I need to work on to
Exactly.
get to that next level," and I feel like it introduces you to that and kind
Mhm.
of, like, helps you continue to, like, compete and get better and not get
Yeah.
complacent. We're feeling like, "Well, I'm pretty good on the local circuit or the local
Right.
area." Now you know, like, "Oh, I'm shooting for,
Mhm.
the girls that are playing, like, up at the top
Yeah, like,
bracket."
especially going to, like, those EYBL tournaments, like Chicago, you get to go or, like, run for the roses, and you see, like, the people in, like, the black courts, the
Yeah,
main courts. It's, like, where all the coaches are at
yeah,
and, like, everyone's at watching. And I remember watching, I saw Shaq's daughter playing, and I was like, "Wow," like, that I wanna be playing
yeah,
there one of these days. Like, that is so cool. Like, just the attention is so different. And it's really cool just seeing, like, everyone getting that hype for girls basketball too. So I think that was, like, really fun. And, like, I love, like, my high school team. I love playing with all my friends from high school, but it's, like, during the summer, we all, like, disperse, play differently, and then we all can, like, meet up, like,
yeah,
out of state and play against, like, girls who we don't even know. And it's, like, I meet a bunch of girls out of state who I'm so, like, I connect with, like, over Instagram, and I'm like,
mhm,
"Hey, like, I'll be in that tournament too. Like, hopefully I see you there." It's just so cool how that brings everyone together.
yeah, and so then transitioning from, like, summer club basketball back into the season, let's talk about kinda the last 2 years for you, what your high school
Yeah.
journey's been like, because 'cause it's been a little bit different than the
Yeah.
kind of typical athlete.
It was definitely really hard. So as pretty much like everyone knows, I had to sit out my junior year of high school due to my transition to Bishop Gorman. It was really hard. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard for me. Just like mental part, especially. Like I don't think anyone realizes how much like it hurts. Like injury or not, you got to like take off that year of sports. But it's like you just want to do something. So it was hard, but that transition from club back to high school, it like came so fast. Like I was just like struggling to keep up because I took that whole year off. So
Right.
I was like, I missed that entire like waking up early for workouts, staying late after school, having to catch up with homework and watching film. I missed it all. But coming back now and that we started with Gorman, we started getting that back in that program early summer, like before Section 7, and it was just crazy. Like we're like now we will have 3 workouts a day, maybe like 2 times a week. So we'll wake up from 6 to 7 in the morning, go to school from 8 to like 2:30, and then after that we'll go to weights. And then after weights, we go to the gym. And it's just so crazy. Like I miss that aspect, but it was definitely like a really big like shocker for me, and, like eye-opening because I sat out and it's back. And I just can't like take a day off because the next day I'm just going hard again. So from club to high school, club is a lot more like complacent because you're not really like you're with a team, but you're
Mhm.
not playing like a high school team.
Right,
You don't really gotta like team bond like
right.
that or like get to know everyone like so personally like that and like you do high school. But it's like you're just kind of playing for yourself for summer. But for high school, it's like, no, you're playing for everyone. You're playing not just for yourself, but for your coaches, for your teammates. So it's definitely like that aspect where I had to get used to that again
Mhm.
because I was so stuck in my mentality where I was like, I was playing club. I'm just playing for myself. I'm just playing because like I want exposure. I need that. Like going to high school, it's like, no, like I'm doing this for everyone because at the end of the day, we want the same thing. So that was definitely really hard. Like the workouts are brutal. Like they're killing us, but it's like, it's great because they know that we want it so bad.
Talk to me kinda like making that decision because we talked about COVID at the
Hmm.
beginning and that kind of being like eye-opening experience, like a sit down of like, "Hey, I could lose basketball, now I got
Yeah.
it back." Well, then now I think about it, you kinda lost it again in
Yeah.
that second journey. So, like, to make that decision where you knew I was gonna have to kinda sit out, and
Hmm.
now I'm also gonna have to go to because I think right before you made that transition, I just remember the video. I did like a little mix up to the
Yeah.
Encanto song of all
Yeah.
you girls.
I
Because
know.
again, like Encanto has this nice song where it kind of goes through all the I'm not gonna sing it even though I really want to because I have a 5-year-old. But it goes through all, like, the character names
Yeah,
and
mhm.
kinda looking at you guys' relationships. I don't know if other people do this when they make videos, but mine are a little bit different. Like, they're not just the typical, like, mixtape to an NBA YoungBoy song. I kinda
Yeah.
try to, like,
I like them, they're fun.
build,
They're
like,
really
I don't
fun.
know, some type of
Yeah.
something. So for that one, like, could see the relationship that you guys
Uh-huh.
all had, and my daughter and I had been watching Encanto, and it hit me. I'm like, "Oh, I see, like, Lisa, dun, 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 dun." And so I kinda gave you guys
Yeah,
each a
yeah, yeah.
role in that. But then, like, I think it was a little bit after that, you had made that decision, communicate to everybody,
Yeah.
kind of like that you were transitioning and you were gonna sit
Mhm.
out that year. What was that like emotionally for you? Because again, just from the outside looking in, like you have a lot of close friends and
Yeah,
stuff. And I forgot
100%.
which character you were, but like you were one of the characters
Yeah, I
in the
remember watching
movie.
it. I was like, "Dang, this is so cool." Like, I love the video.
But what was it like for you, like having to like come out and tell everybody, like, hey guys, like super important to me. This is a decision
Yeah.
I made, like having to
Mhm.
break that to some people you'd like known for a
Yeah.
while, played with for a while.
100%. Like, it was so hard for me, like I said, mentally, like, I don't think anyone really understood, like, I don't think people still understand to this day, like, how hard it was for me to make that decision. Because so late into my high school career too, like, I lost freshman year, and now I had to lose junior year, and now I'm a senior. I really do got, like, 1 year of basketball left, and it was such a big decision to me, like, I prayed about it every single day, asked my parents, but it's like, I had to make that decision for myself, and it was just I just had to look towards my future, and it was like, "This is the best thing for me." Like, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with my decision, but I loved all the girls at that program. Like, I'm still friends with all of them. Like, we talk. Like, my sister still goes there, so it's like I see them all the time. I was just hanging out with some of them yesterday. Like, we're great. Like, they understood, like, if they were in my position, they would have to do the same thing.
Right.
And, like, they would know that I would understand too. Like, it meant a lot to me, and it made the move for me a lot easier knowing that they understood and they didn't, like, resent me for it. And especially, like, being able to play against them now too. I'm just like and we still support each other at games. I played with some of them in club, so I was like, "I'm still gonna see you guys," but I'm like, at the end of the day, I hope you understand, like, this was really hard for me. This had nothing to do with them, but this was just me. Like, I just had to do it for just my future and just, like, where I thought I could just see myself and just picture myself, and, like, I'm very happy with my decision, but it was just so hard. Like, it was, like, having to go to school every day, having that decision in my mind,
Hmm.
and it's like, I can't tell them. I just can't. I can't even slip about it, like, because 'cause I'm like, if I decide against it, then
Right.
why would I even bring it up? But it's like I didn't tell anyone, like, I just kept it to myself, and then when the decision was final, I was like, "No, I had to tell everyone."
So what was it like? And I'm sure she was probably part of the decision making process, but having that conversation with your sister
Mhm.
about like, hey, I know we've been talking about this a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's actually going to happen. Like, how was that?
I mean, I talked to my sister a lot about it just because I was like, "Hey, like, we were looking forward to playing together for 4 years of our high school, like, being able to be on the same team, like, not really playing against each other, and it's like, I'm gonna be leaving soon, like, what do you think?" She was really supportive of my decision. She did not tell me, like, "Stay with me because I want you to see me," like, "Oh, leave so we can play against each other." She didn't sway me one way or the other. She really just, like, helped me, like, realize that, like, you're doing this for you and only you. So at the end of the day, you gotta live with your decision and you just cannot turn back on it. And it was just like, I'll support you no matter what. Like at the end of the day, I'll see her at home, I'll see her in the morning. But it was just a lot of people helped me realize that like I just have to like stay strong with my decision and just go for it. Cause I overthink it all the time. I'm a very indecisive person. So it was like, I guess I could just like, I guess I'll do it, but then
Right.
I'll stay. But I was like, "No, like, this is life changing for me, like, I make this decision, I'm sticking with this decision, and this will be the best thing for me."
So now over at Bishop Gorman, kind of looking at, again, we kind of talked about, your freshman year and junior
Mhm.
year, kind of missing those spaces, how big the game has grown as part of your life, like how important it is and how I think intense you are within the space. Like, what has your like day to day training turned into now that it's like, because again, you're doing it at a different level
Oh,
now, right?
yeah.
Where you were probably still doing some weights and lifting, but
Yeah.
now you're cupping,
No, yeah,
it's
now
at a
it's like
whole nother
yeah,
level
we
of
get,
like,
like, access to this huge facility
yeah.
where it was like I was like,
So
"What?"
I'm like, how do I say that without like making other stuff feel small?
Yeah.
Because it's like a whole nother. I remember the first time I went, I'm like,
It's crazy.
and the football, like it's a whole nother
Oh
level
my
of
gosh, I
like
remember first, like, walking in when I was, like, touring the campus too, like, I would see the football team, and I was like, "What?" And then,
they
like
have like a professional
look
facility,
no,
like
it is, like, bigger
legit.
than some of, like, the colleges that I've seen. I was
Yeah,
like, "This is a high school." I'm like, "This is insane." And I
yeah,
just seeing all these people, like, the coaches are like, "Yeah, that's a sophomore." I'm like, "That's a sophomore?
yeah,
That kid looks like he's pushing 20 years old."
yeah,
I'm like, "That is crazy." It is wild. These guys are, like, towering me over, like, 3 feet. I was like, "Wow." That
yeah.
is Crazy.
And they have hot and cold tubs.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like,
I was like fun fact about that, for as long as I've been there, the first time I've used that was, I think, last week, for the first time ever.
how'd you like it?
It
'Cause that's a
was
college thing, right?
yeah.
That's not a high school
It
thing.
was like, I walked in, like, I thought I got into it was like cold tub right here,
Yeah.
hot tub right there. So I'm like going in and I was like, it can't be that cold. There's no ice. So I was like, it's like not like an ice bath where
It's
I just
legit.
put a foot in and I was like, it is
It's
freezing.
legit.
I was like, this is literally like a legit cold
Yeah.
tub. I remember going in, I was like, oh my gosh, I literally have to breathe through this like an actual ice bath.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And then just like going to hot tub, but I was like, wow, this is actually like, I've never been exposed to that at all. And I
Yeah.
was like, that is like,
So I went to, like, a small D3 school in Wisconsin.
mhm.
We didn't have hot and cold tubs. Like, that's
Yeah.
like a D3
And
college.
this is a
Like,
high
I'm like, "This
school.
is just a high school."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like truly just like a blessing to be there. I was like, I'm just basically everything like I could need. I don't even really need to buy. They have tape there,
Yeah.
everything. I was like, and the trainer's amazing. I love Gus.
Yeah.
I knew like the trainer's there, and it's just like, wow, rollers everywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, this is insane. This is like, I would never thought that I would be exposed to this in my
Yeah.
high school year. Especially like when I went to visit colleges and go on visits and stuff. They were like, oh yeah, you go to Gorman. Like I've seen that facility. It's huge. Like everyone has seen it.
Yeah.
Like pictures or like have been there. And it's just like so crazy how you're exposed to that at a high school, like at a high school level.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. When we went on that tour, I was like, "There's no way."
No, I was like, I was in shock. I was like, I can use this whenever I want. Really? That's cool.
So now transitioning to Gorman, tell me what your day-to-day training regimen has been like. Again, now having access to Bishop Gorman facilities and kind of going into your senior year, kind of ramping things up. Like, what does your day-to-day look like?
So I'm one of the people who live really far from Gorman. I still live by like Coronado and Liberty. So I have to like bus a 30-minute drive over every morning and pick up one of the teammates. I actually pick up 3 or 4 girls every morning. So it's pretty crazy. But sometimes we'll wake up really early in the morning. We'll work out from 6 to 7 in the morning, school. And then we'll have weights from 3:15 to like 5. And then we'll have gym to like 7:30. So it's crazy. You're really there all day. But and it's harder too because I have to wake up really early. I have to make sure I have 2 bags with me. I have to pack like like workout clothes and my school stuff and just be able to go. But it's definitely puts a lot on my body. A lot on my body. Just like it really makes me have to think about recovery and just like really taking care of my body, like eating the right things, drinking enough water. Like, a lot of coaches say that and they stress about it, but you don't really like take it into mode, I guess, until you're really exposed to it.
Mhm.
Now I'm going through these workouts and I'm like, holy crap, like I need to like slow down. Like I just need to like, okay, maybe I can't lift as heavy today, but we're doing this full body workout. Okay, maybe I'll do more reps. So that's another big thing. Like when I was lifting, when I on my year off, I lifted heavy weight. Like I did a lot of like heavy weight, heavy legs, heavy arms. Like I just lifted a lot for just like to gain muscle. But now that you're coming into high school, you can't really you want to build muscle, but you don't want to lift heavy every day. You got to do it more for like repetition and reps and just like same weight. Because if you just lift heavy constantly every day, your body's just gonna like take a beating every single day. And you're still running and you're still hitting girls. Like you just gotta be strong. But it's like I had to just like switch that mode where it's like, okay, I can't lift heavy every day, but I'll do this much weight for this many reps. And it's just like that transition and just like being able to take care of your body and just having to catch up with school. It's just like crazy. Cause in college, it's like the same way. Like I can't really complain about it. It's like, yeah, we have to wake up so early, go to school. I have homework. I gotta meet with teachers, but it's like I signed up for this.
Yeah.
Like I knew that this was coming.
So looking at basketball, which is kind of like becomes a profession at this point where you're
Yeah.
training like a professional
Mhm.
would, have you gotten into the nutritional space at all where you've had to look at like the things you're eating, your diet specifically?
So I never really went on a diet like that just because as an athlete, especially like a basketball player, you need protein. Like you know how it goes. You carb up the night before a game and then you play so you can like burn off the calories. I never went to a diet, but I definitely started to watch what I ate, like sugar intake for sure.
Mhm.
Like just drinking a lot of water. Like I would wake up, drink a bunch of water, go to sleep, drink a bunch of water, like make sure I finish. Like I'll bring a flask to school, make sure I finish that because it's like I don't want a headache. But definitely watched like my sugar intake and how many like I guess how much like junk food per se I put in my body, just like chips and like stuff like that. Like, I know my mom will like nag on me for like stuff I ate, but it's like I'm hungry. I just want to like eat something.
Yeah.
Like I won't really eat like an apple or anything, but like maybe I'll snack on a few like pretzels or something. But like it's just more of like what you put in your body compared to like I guess what you normally would like over the summer or something like that, like
Mhm.
pizza. It's just like you had to like think about like, okay, I got practice. I want to eat a granola bar. Like in the morning, I won't eat like a huge breakfast, but I'll have like cereal or like a protein shake.
Right.
and just keep like a granola bar in my bag. But I'm just like snacking throughout the day, but like if I need to. But other than that, it's just like I never really believed in going on a diet just because I worked out so much. I lose calories, I lose weight.
Mhm.
And so I don't want to like go into starving myself. I just want to be able to like to keep like a manageable of like how I like put what I scratch that. What I put into my body. I just had
Yeah.
to like manage what I put into my body.
Yeah, and I know nutrition now has, like, become such a big part of, like, the sports space, and,
Mhm.
like, when I was growing up, there was no nutrition, anything, you
Yeah.
just drank Kool-Aid every day and ate, like, Lunchables and bologna sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like, now, and even, like, in the Bishop Gorman space, getting to meet, like, Kathleen Check, who does, like, the nutrition stuff for the
Yeah.
boys basketball
Mhm.
program, and her, like, really breaking down to me and, like, me taking some of this advice, like, as an older person now of, like, really how important it is, and, like, you hear about LeBron James all the time.
Mhm.
He spends, $1 to $2 million a year on his body, like,
Yeah. It's
if
crazy.
if you wanna play until you're 38, 39,
Mhm.
40 years old, like, you can do it. Tom Brady, same thing, like,
Mhm.
with TB12, like, it's possible now with, like, a good regiment of, like, eat, sleep, drink, like, when you make it a whole kind of lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Where some people will just do diet and nutrition, some people will just do weights, some people will just do cardio, but now taking all those pieces into account, becoming, like, an actual well-rounded
Yeah.
athlete where you're like, "I kinda eat healthy, like, I do good workouts, I'm,
Mhm.
like, strong enough to be able to like support my body through
Right.
all this instead of like I feel like a lot of injuries come when you're missing some of those pieces.
Mhm.
I think now like we're getting to see athletes that are like taking all that into account and I feel like it's helping prolong my way of like the proof with LeBron and Tom Brady. Like it's helping people prolong their careers and
Yeah.
again prevent injuries, like especially in the girls space where again for a long time things like weightlifting
Right.
wasn't as huge of a thing where now like, all the top
It's part of the
players, right?
everyday,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
not optional. I don't think you
No.
have a coach where you're
No.
like, "Oh, you guys are good. You
No,
don't
even
have
if they do
to."
say optional, come to the gym, it's open, it's like, no, it's really it's secretly like, no, they're not saying it's optional, like, you
Yeah.
gotta be there.
Yeah. So I think that's really good, and I think it helps, like, raise the level of play and
Mhm.
competition as well, like, bringing that all into your game, and again,
Mhm.
just making everyone, like, healthier and more well-rounded, I think
Yeah.
really evens the playing field.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say I'm like the healthiest eater. Like, I also eat like ice cream and stuff like that. But it's like I do really manage on like what I put into my body just because I'm working out constantly, and I can't not go throughout my day without eating something with substance because like I'm working out. So it's like I don't want to get lightheaded or anything like that. It's just like being cautious.
So, kinda looking at your journey and your career so far, there have been a couple of points where I think there were, like, real obstacles, like real
Hmm.
challenges that you had to work through. And I would consider, especially like between the COVID year and having to make that decision to kind of like sit out that junior year,
Yeah.
like having a strong, like one family foundation, but like support system that's going to back you keeping like good mental health. I think is
Yeah.
super important because I mean, even during COVID, like
Hmm.
all of us being locked away kind of in our own spaces, like I saw a lot of people whose mental health like took a
Yeah.
lot of tumbles during that
Yeah.
like that period. Like, how did you kind of focusing on mental health, like
Hmm.
stay strong and help like get through those periods? And twice now you've had to say like, "Hey, I'm coming back from this, and I got to
Yeah.
stay locked in during
Hmm.
this period."
Right.
Because if I just slack off during your freshman year, or if you just take off all junior year, it's gonna be a lot harder to come back senior
Yeah.
year, where you got to still lock in and say, "No, I have a goal. I'm coming back. Like, here's what I have to do in that time."
Like, I'm really big on mental health. Like, I know I've been close with a lot of people, like, who really went through hard times, and it's just, like, I never wish that upon anyone ever. So, being able to, like, have to be honestly blessed with the support system I have is just, like, it's huge. Like, my parents, my sister, like, my parents have just always been there for me since day one, like, been supporting me about my decisions I've made throughout my life. They've helped me make my decisions, but they're also like, "This is up to you. Like, we're not in your shoes. We're not playing basketball for you, but this is what you're gonna do." Like, especially, like, during COVID and when having to set my year, like, I just like, I got really hard on myself just because I was like, I'm not doing anything, like, everyone's playing, and I can't, like, I just really can't. I would train, like, Coach Sean Watkins Joy's dad and Coach Anthony Livingston Kennedy's dad, who
Yeah.
Kennedy was here too. Like, they played a really big role in, like, my basketball and, like, just my mental and how I played basketball. Like, they taught me basically how to dribble basketball and shoot the basketball as well as I do now. Like, they know me and who I am as a player, so they knew what I was going through and knew when I was off. They're like, "We're here for you." Like, they would get me in the gym. They're like, "You're sitting at home, you're in the gym. Like, what are you doing? What You're coming in the gym." Like, they forced me off my feet to a point to where I didn't have to think about it. And it made me feel a lot better because it was just like, I know if I sat at home, I would just be in like a terrible head mess. and like still being in touch with like the coaches I was when I was with like All Vegas.
Mhm.
Coach Kopps, Coach E, and like Coach Hudgens and them, they were really helpful with my basketball journey. Like Coach Kopps built that really like big family atmosphere. So I would reach out to the girls and reach out to him and was like, hey, like I'm at this college, like they say they knew you. Like it was so cool. Like they would support me, and it's just like, especially going knowing that I went through a hard time and having to sit, they would support me and be like, "Hey, Sid, like we're here. Like, how are you doing?" And like, I know you're sitting out, but it's like, hey, you got something to look forward to. Like, think about it. Now you have like this whole year to like basically not take rest off. Because when I took that year off, everyone kind of just like expected me to just like stop playing basketball
Right.
and like to wait till next year. And it's like, no, like I came back and I came back better. And so it was really hard. But like one thing that really got me through it was like music. Like I listen to music a lot, like reading the Bible, like going through verses with my mom. Like I got back in touch with like going to church and stuff. So that was really big for me. And like just being able to be part of a different community outside of the basketball community, it like really opened my eyes to like what I'm going through sucks, but it's like it's just preparing me for a bigger journey ahead. So I'm also very grateful that I went through that because I feel like it really built me to be the person that I am now. Because I had to work, I felt like twice as hard throughout
Right.
that year when I had to sit out.
So do you feel the same like as a student athlete? And I'm
Mhm.
sure you've gotten to watch other people who are just students, and I kind of preach about this all the time, like how much harder it is to be a student athlete where you have to be a normal student, carry
Yeah.
the full load that everyone
Mhm.
else
That's
does, and
crazy.
honors classes, and also basically have this full-time job of before school waking up early, where a
Yeah.
normal kid just gets to just take the bus and arrive at 7 or 8 o'clock, and then
Mhm.
after school at 1 or 2, just go home and
Yeah.
do an hour of homework and then get to watch TV.
Let me tell you, I'm so jealous of those people. Like I envy the people who don't need to wake up early, like can wake up at a reasonable time for school, can go home and like just not have to worry about anything. But at the same time, I'm just like, how do you do that?
Right.
How do you just like go throughout your day and just not do anything after? Like, I can't do that. I have to be doing something, like going to the gym, working out. But I was actually talking about, I literally had this conversation with one of my teammates, Lizzie. I was taking her home from practice and I was like, this is just, we go through so much. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it's a lot to complain about, but it's like, it's so good because I literally cannot imagine myself not doing anything else. And it's just like, I wish I had a bunch of that free time. And like my parents kind of, my mom kind of nags on me for like getting a job. Like I need to get some money, but like I'm a little broke right now. but, but it's like, I just don't have the time for it.
Yeah.
I'm doing something constantly every day, especially on the weekends when the days I'm supposed to have off. That's like I rest my body. It's like
Right.
Sundays is like my off days. I got to dial down, get myself collected for the rest of the week. I cannot see myself not playing sports or being a student athlete because I
Yeah.
feel like being a student athlete or being an athlete in general really just as like who I am as a person. Because it just really brought me out of my shell and just gave me that sense of work ethic too. Like it taught me a lot of life lessons, like working for what I wanted, like putting myself first above like a lot of other people and a lot of other things, and just like goals, time management, especially
Mhm.
like really big on time management, homework, like juggling AP and honors classes. Like I take AP and honors classes, and it's just like your teachers are super helpful too. Like when they understand that you're a student athlete, also they're really like flexible with you. They'll understand like I'm really tired today. I'm gonna let you know. Like I'm gonna like not really answer questions in class. Like they'll understand. But it's also like I have to work twice as hard just because I want to keep up, and I don't want to be like just because I am a student athlete, I get like these certain privileges that other students don't, to where I can slack off. Like no, that's not what I want at all. I need to show them that I can handle this and handle school because that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I look back at high school, there's no way I could have just been a student.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like,
I always look at other students like, "How do you guys just go to
I don't get
school
it. I
just for
really don't.
school?" Like,
I
I know there's a small percentage of people who just love learning, who
yeah.
at that age wake up like, "Hey, mom, I'm going to geometry today." But for
Mm.
the rest of the 99% of us, I'm like, without a sport or some reason to make you, like, just get up
I
every
just
morning, I
literally I
just
need a
don't
reason
get
to
it.
be able to be like, yeah, I gotta go to school today. Because if you don't go to school, you don't go to practice. You get bad grades, you can't practice or play. So it definitely keeps me on my toes because it makes me like work hard in the classroom, outside of the classroom. Because it's like, do you want to sit out a game and have your coaches on your
Right?
butt for failing a class?
Yeah.
Or your let alone my parents? No, thank
Yeah.
you. Like thinking about like having to come home super late from practice. My parents are super like they understand. Like it was hard at first because they're like, you're never home. Like and it sucked too because I was like, I never get to see them. Like I'm
Yeah.
never home. I'm like, I never get to see my sister because we start school at different times too.
Mhm.
She wakes up earlier, gets home sooner, and I get home late and I'm driving far. So it's like they were really helpful with that. My mom meal preps for me too, so that's really nice. So they've just been really supportive of me. So having that, it just like it was just really easy for me to like be more, I guess, willing to like do this because it's like they give up so much for me. Like I'm gonna do this. Like I've like, yeah, if I can do it, I can do it. And like going to play college, like, I'm gonna have to do this anyway.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's like that's what high school's for. It's like introducing you to that,
Right.
but it's gonna be like so much more in college.
I think it goes so fast. Like when I
Mhm.
remember the end of college and then I moved, so I'm from Wisconsin, moved out to Las Vegas after that. And for a second, you do take a little break where you're like, oh, I have mornings. It lasts about 2 or 3 weeks
It
where
feels like
it's nice. You're like, oh,
yeah.
I don't have to wake up. I get freedom. After about 1, 2 weeks, you're like, you miss it.
Mhm.
And you're like, but you can't get it back. Like
Right.
it's
And it's
over.
like you take the day off and it's like you feel like you lose everything. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm scared to like my parents are like, let's go on vacation. I was like, when? I'm
Yeah.
like, I have basketball, this, and
Yeah.
this. If I skip this day, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna feel like so lazy
Yeah.
and I'm gonna run slow and it's like my shooting's gonna be off and I'm like, no, like I'm just so scared to take these long breaks, especially when our coaches like on the weekends, they're like, I had to stop lifting outside of school
Mm.
just because like it just made my body way too
Oh,
tired.
yeah.
And we lift every day. So I was like, it's not worth it for me to hurt myself. So I was like, when I'm sitting at low and when I'm sitting at home, I'm just like, I literally have nothing to do. My
Yeah.
homework's done. But the day goes by, I feel like so much longer. It's like I'm just sitting at home, I have nothing.
Yeah.
I have no training, I have no practice, I have no lift. And it's like, what do I do? Do I just sit home?
I do think that one of the like the best things that introduced in my life, again, that time management, being
Mhm.
able to like at a young age set a schedule and like because that's hard too, like
Yeah.
forcing yourself to like I gotta wake up early when no one likes there's a couple people. No one likes waking up at 4 a.m.,
Mm.
5 a.m., especially to
It's
do
crazy.
something that's hard and
Oh
challenging,
my gosh,
right?
it is so
And
hard.
so to force yourself to do that and make that commitment and still know after practice and I gotta drive home and we get home at 6, 7 o'clock and I have homework, like you have to
Yeah, I
like,
can't take
you're
a
getting
nap.
ready for adult life, because
Yeah.
when you're an adult, like, that helped me transition
Yeah.
to, like, when you have an actual job and responsibilities
Hmm.
and then you have a family, you're leaning on all those skills I felt like I learned during my sports years
Yeah.
where I'm like, a regular student, I don't think had all that backing of, like,
Right.
getting those things down and being, like, in a routine, and
Hmm.
then it just, like you just transitioned to adulthood and you were already in it. You already
Right.
knew how to do those hard things, and you just kept doing them just in a different space.
Right, that's what I'm grateful for because I learned so many life lessons, especially from like my dad and from my mom. Like my mom came from like a hard background too, like from the Philippines, so she really had to work her way to like get where she's at now. So it's like, why if they did it and like they went through so much, and it's like this is just like high school. So it's like I'm learning a lot for sure, but it is so hard. Like especially waking up at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I drink a Red Bull like every single morning. It's probably one of the reasons why I haven't grown in a year.
So,
So
that Red Bull.
yeah, I was like, or had a really bad addiction to like Bang. Like, I don't know if you saw, like, I would drink a Bang before I think at every game, or like a Celsius, and I'd be so shaky, and it was so bad because I
Yeah.
can't nap. I cannot nap throughout the day. So I'm like chugging a Red Bull before I get to school, chugging a Celsius. Like, I just need to stay awake. I need anything to stay
Right.
awake, and it's just so crazy because I'll literally like, you open my fridge right now, just pack a Red Bull in there.
Yeah.
Like so much Red Bull in the fridge right now. It's
What
actually really bad.
what is your go-to Red Bull flavor?
Um,
Are you like an original? Do you mix it
So
up with
in the fridge right now, we have a 12 pack of original. So that there's that. But I really like, I think it's like the watermelon one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think it's water. It's like this red, but that's really good.
That's
I like that one a lot.
okay.
But it's really bad addiction though. I'm
It
not gonna
is.
lie. I don't recommend that to
Yeah.
like anyone to get addicted to, especially to Bang. That made me like
Yeah.
super shaky before a game. Like it woke me up, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really bad.
For us, it would be like College Monster, like, just the
Oh
regular
yeah.
green, like and we were all gamers too. That was
Hmm.
back in, like, the original Xbox days of just, like, cases and cases of Monster, and I just remember the same thing, like, that
Yeah.
just kept you because we didn't do like, I guess there were some kids that were, like, coffee folks, but, like, the athletes were all, like, energy
I
drinks,
like
like, I
I
don't yeah.
have to be in the mood for coffee. I don't know. I'll drink it sometimes, but it's like no. It's just so easy to grab it,
Yeah.
go, and it's just like I'm chugging in the car, driving. Like it's just like I gotta finish this now so I can kick in right first period. So it's like I'm ready for the day. But then I crash
Oh, so
so bad.
hard. Yeah.
I crash so hard later, and it's so bad because I'll get home and I'm like I don't even want to do
Done.
anything,
Yeah.
but I have to stay up for homework, and I
Yeah.
can't drink anything. I can't drink another one, or else I
Yeah.
won't get sleep. And it's just like terrible sleep schedule, terrible sleep schedule. But it's like, I have to do what I can to to get
Yeah.
up that early, and that's why I'm like, I'm so jealous of people, like, if you live close to your school and you don't play sports in the morning, I envy you a very big amount.
Athletic family, 2 young ladies that very heavily invested in
Uh-huh.
sports. Where does the athletic prowess come from? Is it dad? Is it mom? Like,
So it's definitely my dad. Sorry, mom. But no, it's definitely my dad. My dad was huge, like really well known for wrestling back in California. So that's where I was born to. Whittier, California. My dad was like state ranked. So he was really big on wrestling. He's like this big guy
yeah.
too. He's like this big white man that you'll see. Like he'll walk around kind of, he's like a giant teddy bear. Love my dad. But he's quiet, but he's a really good conversationalist. But he also played football.
Mhm.
So that's where he's like really hard from. And that's where he kind of gets on me too. Like, you gotta be tough. Like
Yeah.
this world will like get on you if you're not tough. You don't have the strong, you don't work for what you want, then you're not gonna get it. So, but I definitely like got it from my dad. My mom, like my mom's a teacher, so I get like education and stuff from her. But my dad's also good with numbers. So it's like a really good balance. My dad was the athletic guy of the family. My mom's like more down to earth and stuff like that. So she was really, my mom's more like, she really taught me to be who I am, like personality, manners, like how I like conversate with people. So I learned that a lot from my mom and like work ethic and stuff from my dad. So but it definitely, like, athletics for my dad, and, like, my grandpa too. My grandpa played sports in high school. My grandpa was a really big supporter of me playing basketball. I remember, like, when I went to visit them in California, he goes, "Tell me about your game." Like, we would watch college basketball together, and, like, he was really close with, like, the UConn coach, the
Mhm.
women's basketball coach at the time. So he got, like, one of my favorite players to sign, like, a poster for
Oh, wow.
me. It was, like, Katie Lou Samuelson. Love her. So my grandpa was also really big. So it's definitely from my dad's side of the family.
When it came to like your different sports journeys, how did your dad help support you and like get you through that? And again, even your decision to
Mhm.
kind of transition schools, like how is he as part of like one of your key pieces to your support system?
Definitely. So my dad was honestly, he's one of the hardest working men I know. Like he will do anything for me at any time of the day. Like I'm so grateful to have that as a role model in my life. Like all the coaches I've been talking to, like I've gotten offers from, like my dad's played a huge role in that. Filmed all my games. Like I said, you'll see him at the corner just like with his phone, just like with a hat on or something, like but wearing the gear that I am for the team.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, but he'll put all these clips together like on NCSA. Like they're not like the best quality because it's on an iPhone, but it's like he puts them together. He'll like put it on the website, and all I gotta do is like, "Hey coaches, my name is Sydney. Like this is like from my game over the summer." It's like my dad does it all. He'll take me early in the morning. Like when I couldn't drive, he would wake up early in the morning to take me. He'd wake me up to go lift. He'd encourage me to go just do everything. And then my mom too, like my mom would do her best to like come out to all my games. Like my mom didn't really understand basketball. So it was really funny seeing her try and like
Right.
understand it. So like especially to this day, like she's like, "Why didn't you make that shot? Why didn't you do this? Why like was that a good pass?" Like, "Well, I don't understand the refs." I was like, "No, like that's part of the game. Like I got the next one, don't worry." Like, but it was something I come from like really great parents. Like they've definitely like been my biggest supporters. I know. Like my dad's just like he's great. Like he just works so hard for me and just especially my sister, like having to just give what he did to me and like having to give it to my sister too. Like it's just like it really opened my eyes to be really grateful for that. Like I definitely think like I wouldn't be talking to the coaches or like having the offers I have if it wasn't for my dad like pushing me to like no, you need to talk to them. Like I'll be on the phone with coaches. Like he'll be like, "Hey, this coach wants to talk to you. Like you need to text him back. Like tell him you don't have practice to say. Call him." Like and it's just like and it just gets me to that point where it's like, yeah, I gotta do this for myself. Like I'm not gonna have my dad there when I go to college. So it's like I got to do this for myself. But he definitely put me on that right track
Got
for
it.
sure.
So I'm going to mention a name that you mentioned a little bit earlier, and
Okay.
it's come up on two of the previous podcasts.
Okay.
And I want you to give me, before you kind of give me a breakdown of this person and
Okay.
their influence on your career, I
Hmm.
want you to give me the first word that comes to mind when you hear this name.
Okay.
Cops.
Family.
Okay.
Family. Just knowing him and getting to know his family and just like how he was as a coach, it was just that family aspect. He brought everyone together. Like, especially like being one of the younger girls on the team when I first got to Liberty, it was so scary. Like playing with all these girls who knew each other already. But it was just like he bonded with us all the time. He like made us do things that made us uncomfortable, being like having to open up to one another. Cause a lot of girls, like we would argue, but it's like that's part of the sport, part
Hmm.
of being girls, you know. But it was like he did that to where so we would just get along with each other so well. And he just like definitely made a huge impact on my basketball career. Same with Coach E. Like they would put me in positions to where I had to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like I was this shy girl on the court, like didn't really want to shoot the ball, but I was so good at it. And it's just like I couldn't do that. And I would be, punished for that. I wouldn't be put in if I didn't. but it was like they did it to where my teammates would encourage me and like I would be comfortable going to these teammates and be like, "Hey, like I'm struggling right now, like I need help." And like being able to have coaches who are that open to your players, and it's just like they were so welcoming to me, like they would always have that arm around me, and it's just like to this day like their family is just so great, like they'll support you no matter what. And it's just like they definitely like opened up my shell, like my confidence is like through the roof with like where I'm at. So they definitely provided that family aspect for me at basketball, and it's like I never really got to understand how important it was until I met them, especially like Coach BJ and Coach Chris. Like, they're amazing. I got to meet
Okay.
some great people through them.
So when you look at your senior year, where you're
Mhm,
at now, starting with sports, looking at like your future goals and aspirations,
mhm.
like we're kind of going through this high school year, where do you want to take this? Like what do you want to do next and how do you see kind of your career progressing?
Okay. So it's always been a goal of mine to play college basketball, play basketball at the next level, whether that be D3, D2, D1. I think all levels of basketball, like you have to work hard for it. I don't think one is easier than the other. I really don't think like whatever level you're on, you're constantly working. But it would just be a blessing to play college basketball. And I've been given the opportunities by great colleges that have been looking at me and offering me. So I have some great options right now. But I'm definitely like gonna keep my options open. But I after college basketball, I'd really like to play, like, overseas. That'd be really nice. I think that was so cool to watch, teams play in different countries. Like, I've known girls who played overseas and came back, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, I went to Italy. I went to Rome. I was in Spain." Like, it was just I was in Brazil playing. I was like, "That is so cool." You're open up to, like, different, like, backgrounds, like, having to like, seeing all these cultures and, like, getting to play basketball too. It's like, I like traveling, so I think that would be so cool to be given that opportunity to play nationally or like overseas to play basketball and like doing what I love while also seeing like other places around the world because
Right.
I've never been out of the country before. So I think that'd be like really cool. So that's definitely been like my goal since like day one.
I'm gonna ask you an on the spot question.
Okay.
When you look at what basketball has done for you and given you,
Hmm.
what if you had to kind of pick one lesson you've learned, like
Okay.
one of the like core, not just memories, but like something basketball has taught you?
Hmm.
What are one of those top things you'd put in that space?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I guess I just have to go with like working hard sounds cheesy, but it's like you work so hard, put countless hours of effort in and out of the gym. And it's like you get to the game and like you just have to go for it. It's confidence really. Like I was one of those players who worked so hard out of the gym, but when I got to the court, I was scared. Like I just it was scary. Like and like yeah, it was just like now I'm like I can't do that anymore. It's just like because you're gonna waste time like, honestly, you're gonna waste time. You just gotta go for it, and you really gotta put yourself first. And it's like, yeah, the sport is like a team sport, but it's also like you're doing this, you're working for yourself and you're working for like the people who've given you that opportunity. So it's like, why throw it away? And it's like that's something I think about all the time. Like I'm put in this position because I put myself in this position. And it's like confidence and it's just like putting myself first over everything else. Like this is who I am. This is how I want to carry my life. And if I want to do this for me, I got to do this now or it's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
Like the world's not going to stop for just cuz I'm scared. Like I have to go and like I have to play and show everyone that I can play basketball. Like the hours that I put in outside of the gym, this is what it's paying off for. So definitely just like putting myself first and just like using what how much I work and just implying that.
From everything you've been through
Mhm.
and everything you've learned, if you had to convey that information and kind of give a message either to a younger you or a girl's kind of coming up now, including your sister that's again
Yeah.
going through that journey,
Mhm.
like what is some of the advice that you'd give them from what you've learned?
Definitely from what I've learned is just, trust your gut. Honestly, trust your gut. Like, your gut won't lie to you, and it was just like and it's to me, it's just like pray every day, pray, and talk to your family, and it's just like you if you think that this is what's best for you, it is, and who cares if anyone wants to give you hate for it and, like, because I went through that, people are gonna give you hate for it. People are gonna, like, resent you for, like, decisions you make in life and just for things that you want. You just gotta, like, continue to do you. You don't have time to, like, dwell on the type of things that people are gonna say and what people want for you. It's what you want for you, what makes you happy. So definitely doing what makes you happy, and, like, I tell that to my sister, and, like, me and my sister agree. It's like, if you're not happy, then you just gotta stop. And it's like and if you can't see yourself doing anymore, then why force yourself to do it? Definitely do something that makes you happy and that you're willing to work on. Because like with other sports I was opened up to, like I liked him, but I just didn't love him. I liked being part of sports, but it's just like I didn't like get that like I wanted to do it. But yeah, I was told like you should do this, but it was like I don't want to. And it's just coming to that self-realization and being like, no, this makes me happy. Making this decision is what's best for me. And it's just like not really putting other people's decisions and thoughts before yours. It's doing what you want and doing what makes you happy is really important. So I'm really big on that.
I think that's a super important, like, powerful message, especially now with how strong and how big social media is.
Mhm.
Like, there's just so much noise coming
Yeah.
from everywhere.
Totally. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
And I'm gonna reference a Cardi B interview from The Breakfast Club. I was just watching it this morning. So she was on The Breakfast Club, I think, like, 2
Mhm.
days ago.
Yeah.
And she talked about, like, when it came to her music, they had asked her, like, why she does a certain style or why she always talks about certain things. And she
Mhm.
mentioned, she would go into, like, another space. Like, she would do different types of music
Mhm.
that sounded a little bit different, or she would, like,
Yeah.
try other things, and she would get hate from
Yeah.
people who would, like, attack her and say,
Mhm.
like, "Don't do this and don't do this." And what she kind of learned was, and I feel like it's similar, like, to the like a Bishop Gorman experience, like, the people who
Yeah.
condemn you or come down on that, she said, like, the second she say, like, "Okay, I'm not gonna take this opportunity," and I think she mentioned, like, whether you're, like, gonna go walk the red carpet and people go,
Mhm.
"Oh, don't do that, don't do that," and the second you don't do that opportunity, they jump right into it.
Right.
And so you'll
Exactly.
see that it's not always, like, actual hate of
Mhm.
people. Like, a lot of times it can form in, like, jealousy or people,
Right.
like, being envious of that
Yeah.
space, and she kinda talked and said, like, "I realized, like, I just got to do the things that I'm interested in,
Mhm.
that I wanna do, and, like, have confidence that I'm making, like, using my best judgment, making the right
Right.
decision, and kind of, like, tuning out, like, some of that background
Yeah,
noise."
because unfortunately it is gonna happen. Like my parents told me like it's gonna happen in your life, and I didn't really want to believe it, but until I was exposed to it, I was like, wow, this really does suck. Like people are gonna say things like all the time. That's definitely like not true too. Like it's just like, but you gotta like ignore it. You really do, because you're at the end of the day, you're doing what you want, and some people, like you said, are just gonna say something to get in your position.
Yeah.
Like they don't want you to do this because they want to do it, and it's like, well, I don't have to listen to you because I want to do it. And like, people are just gonna just constantly give hate on you, but they don't understand what you've been through or what you had to do to get to where you're at. So as long as like you know what you've been through and you've accepted that and like you know what you're choosing is what's right for you, like honestly, who cares what other people think? Because the people who do understand and who do support you is like really all you need. And I've realized that, like, especially like, making my decisions and like playing basketball in general or just like being a student athlete, a lot of people are gonna try and just like bring you down mentally. And it is a mental struggle, but it's like, and you're gonna have to just learn the hard way to where you're just have to just ignore it. It's all noise, especially when you're playing a game. People are gonna like boo you in the crowd,
Yeah.
like. But it's like I live for that stuff. People boo me in the crowd, like okay, like
Yes.
that means like that definitely means I'm doing something right if you're booing me in the crowd right
Yeah.
now. But it's honestly exhilarating, and when you get to prove those people wrong, it makes it so worth it. It is so worth like just the struggle and just the work and just the hours.
Right.
It's just seeing their face or just like and just knowing that you made it to like make yourself happy. That's like that's content.
Yeah.
That's content for me.
It's tough to get through even as an adult. Like, so even in, like, the sports media space that I'm
Uh-huh.
in, like, I've dealt with, like, similar challenges of, taking the response that people have to things that you're doing. So, for example, like, when you're doing something that benefits someone else, like,
Mhm.
for example, when you're playing for a certain team,
Yeah.
people love you. You leave that team, you're no longer kind of giving them a benefit.
Yeah.
They'll have, like, some commentary for that, and, like,
Yeah.
we've went through that same thing. So, for example, like, we covered Section 7 for the boys,
Mhm.
and I was there, like, for us as our only videographer. And so there were, I think, like 14 or 15 Vegas
Yeah.
teams. And so I would make a calendar every day, basically from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and
Jeez.
basically trying to stack games back to back. And so I was doing 10 to 11 games a day. So that's like
That's
10 or 11
crazy.
hours of straight filming, like back to back to back to back to
Yeah.
back.
Basketball games are long.
And in that, I'd miss a couple teams. Like,
Yeah.
there were probably 3 Vegas and it was like a 2, 3-day event. There were probably 2 to 3 Vegas teams. I didn't get any photos. I didn't get
Mhm.
any videos. And there were 1 or 2 that were not happy about that
Right.
and, like, would make comments, even on
Yeah.
social media, like, "Hey, you didn't get to our game," or, "Hey, no love for us." And it's one of those things where you just have to know, like, I'm doing the right thing for
Right.
me or the whatever the situation
Right.
is that I'm in. And for us, it's just my goal is to help everyone. And so I'm
Mhm.
like in my head, I'm always making a mental note. I'm like, oh, if I miss this team here, I'm gonna make sure to get them on the back end. But
Mhm.
I understand that not everyone sees it like that.
Yeah.
They can see it as like, oh, they're just like leaving us out
Exactly.
in the dark. And it's like, even myself, I had to like give myself little pep talks like,
Mhm.
sometimes, hey, just ignore it for now. Like, you don't have to get mad about it or feel a certain way. Just know, like, the reason I'm making like the decisions I made in that schedule
Yeah,
for those weeks were more about time based. Like, I
exactly.
would pick the games that allowed me to get from one game to the next. And it
Mhm.
was like, oh, if I pick this team, I'm going to have to miss an hour here. And I wanted to make sure I was like getting the most out of my time, like trying to be
Yeah,
efficient, which meant I missed like 2 or 3 teams and just
yeah,
had to be okay with that and know, like, hey, on the back end during the season, I'm going to go to 1 or 2 extra of their games. But,
yeah.
social media can make things loud, right?
Mhm.
And where
Really loud and
without
really
it, like,
fast.
it allows people basically, I always said, to come into your house
Mhm.
uninvited at any time they want. Because at
Yeah.
any time, somebody can find you, especially like on Instagram, and just
Search up your
search your
name.
name,
Yeah.
comment, message, and say
Yeah.
whatever they feel like saying.
Mhm.
And like, it's hard to get away from that and like to turn that off. And so learning, especially you guys at a young age, because like when I was coming up, we didn't have that. There
Right.
was no way to just like, unless you came to a game and yelled at me and said, Drew sucks. 44 is garbage.
Yeah.
There was once I left the court, I didn't have to see you again
Right,
until
like, it
like the
didn't
next
matter,
game.
like, I see you for, like, barely, like, an
Yeah.
hour of my day?
But now people can, whether it's sports and non sports related, people can have commentary and an opinion on
Mhm.
everything you do in life. If you go to the
Yeah.
movies with your friends and you guys post a picture
Yeah.
or you're eating dinner, like, people have the ability to anonymously a lot of times
Yeah.
say,
Just bash you, and
just
it's like,
throw stuff,
I
at
just
the
don't get
wall.
it. I just never really understood why people take the time out of the day to do that stuff,
Yeah.
like, you just don't
And
understand.
so this generation, from like a mental toughness perspective,
Mhm.
has to be a lot stronger to be able to
Oh,
handle
yeah.
that criticism early.
Yeah.
And then again, the further your career goes, the louder the noise gets. And I always look at, when you think of like child celebrities and even like a Bronny James, like they're getting that so much earlier and in multitude. So take like the little stuff that we're getting at like
Mhm.
our high school level times a million because
Yeah.
they have every national media outlet, every fan from every different team that they're not going to and playing,
Right.
just like swarming and throwing that on. So I think this generation is going through a challenge that like no other generation has
I
faced
agree.
of having that many eyes on you at all times for literally everything you do.
'Cause
Now you
yeah.
could be people say like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be on social media." I feel like it's the same thing that people that would tell us like, "Oh, you don't have to have a cell phone or a laptop." Like,
Yeah. I mean,
baloney.
yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things where at this point, it's a part of our lives.
It is.
Everyone has a
Yeah.
cell
You
phone.
just have to accept
Everyone
it.
has the internet. You have to accept
Right.
it. Where it's not a, hey, I can just not do social media. And so like everyone at this point is their own brand,
Mhm.
especially athletes. Like if you're not promoting yourself and off camera, like earlier we talked about like Raina Bell and like the stuff she was doing on
Yeah.
Twitter. Like
Mhm.
if you're not putting out your stats and highlights and stuff, like you're doing yourself a disservice. So it's
Exactly.
real easy to say like, oh, just don't do social media.
Mhm.
But again, it's one of those things like the Cardi B, the people that are telling you that, they're doing social media.
Exactly.
They're making sure they put out their
They're
highlights
making
and
sure that
their
everyone sees what they're doing every
yeah,
day, and it's like, but the minute you do something, it becomes a problem. It's
yeah.
like,
So it's a balance, right? It's
yeah,
like,
it is. But I definitely agree. Like, this generation has like the harder time dealing with it. With like, and it's just like, because I feel like, especially kids now, like a lot of these younger kids, like have a phone. Like I
yeah,
did not have a phone at that age, or like,
right.
let alone like TikTok or like Instagram or Snapchat. I'm like, wow, I did not have that. But I'm
Yeah,
kind of grateful for it because it's just like it allowed me to be a kid. Because I was like, I'm like looking at kids. I'm like, I'm not. I'm happy. I'm not like glued to my phone when I was a kid.
right.
I gotta like enjoy sports, enjoy being outside.
Yeah.
But it's like also like looking back on it, you kind of need this stuff to be like advertise yourself as a person, especially being an athlete.
Hmm.
You need to like show film. You
Yeah.
need to like text coaches. So it's like like you said, there's a balance, but it's just like being able to find that healthy balance.
So I'm gonna give a tip, and it's not for everyone. It
Mhm.
just worked for me. And it's something that I took like before social media got super huge. It was something I learned in the work world. So I'd worked in the casino space doing project management for a long time.
Yeah.
And when you're working for a company or corporation, you basically have your company email open 24/7.
Mhm.
We use Microsoft Teams, so a lot of companies use like Slack. It's kind of the same thing. It's like an
Yeah.
instant messenger. So you have that and you have your email system. Early on, and we used Outlook, I had my email notifications on all day long because you get new emails. You see, up somebody emailed me, they want to report, they
Yeah.
need something done. You do it. I learned, and so I watched like a couple like TED Talk videos on this, and we had like a seminar where somebody came in and talked to us about it. And until I turned it off, I didn't know how powerful it was. When you get those constant alerts all day long, you become much more, you're unproductive.
Yeah.
because you're being interrupted. So
Mhm.
you're working on an email and you're getting alerts about new
Yeah.
emails. And so what I did was basically turn those off or put
Mhm.
them on a schedule.
Mhm.
So I was only seeing them when I wanted to see them. Now you
Yeah.
still needed to, when somebody important
Mhm.
told you something, but what I
Yeah.
learned was the second someone even text messages you, you actually don't need to see it that exact second.
No,
There's
yeah.
hardly in your like day-to-day life and how they explained it, there's hardly any scenarios that the second even your parents text you that you have to get back to them
Right away.
within that moment.
Yes.
And so what we did in the work world was either you kind of silence those email notifications or put them on the schedule.
Mhm.
So I've taken that personally and applied that to social media. And so for anything for sports, we have like 10 Instagram accounts and
Mhm.
Twitter and TikTok and Facebook. I have all notifications off on every platform. And so I just set myself a schedule.
Yeah.
So instead of, and it's fun sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when you have like a popular video or something and you keep getting dinged and you're like, ooh,
Oh, yeah, people are, like,
like.
commenting on it, like, "Oh, this is so cool, this is
So
so
it
cool."
feels cool. And that, okay, turn it on for that
Yeah.
moment. But outside of that, I only check even for the stuff that we're doing in all our different
Mhm.
avenues, I only check it when I wanna check it.
Yeah.
So it's like I post a video and then the video's just there. Like, I don't get likes. I don't see the likes or the comments until I open up Facebook or Instagram, and it creates it's helped my mental health
Yeah.
because you only are in the space when you need it. Instead of
Exactly.
just all day long, just having
Constantly
this
checking it.
constant drip of like,
Yeah, like a need to like
check this,
check
check this,
social
check this.
media. No, I agree. Like, with my parents, like I put my phone on like do not disturb.
Yeah.
But like I'll put my parents to like where they're the exception.
Yeah.
Like my sister, like because if I miss a call from them, it's like
Yeah.
something's going like
Yep.
then they'll all get in trouble. But it's like or like I'll leave like a group. I'll mute everything else, but like a
Yeah.
group chat from like my team will be like unmuted. So we're like I need to see what time workouts are. Other than that, it's just like I especially learned that especially through COVID, like you're just on your phone on
Mhm.
social media. Like you just have to just detach.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like, cause you can get caught up so easily in social media
Yeah.
and just what everyone else is doing. Like on TikTok, I'll be scrolling. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that. I will literally be in bed scrolling on that for hours just cause I'm bored.
And I'm huge in the tech space and the
Yeah.
social media space, but the nice thing about like implementing this type of method and not in you not even doing it to this extent, but what you learn is you get to do it when you want to do it.
Yeah.
So when you're in bed scrolling for hours, no problem, but it's because you decided to do
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
When you have those like notifications on at all times, it's the app kind of that's
Yeah.
pulling you into
It's
it.
just a distraction.
Where
Like,
you
does
can
it
be in the middle of doing something else, you see a notification and okay, now you're in. Instead of
exactly.
just you deciding like, "Hey, I don't have anything to do or I'm in bed. I'm gonna do it for a little bit." Like then
Right.
it's like your choice
Yeah.
where the notifications kind of like for me it was like taking away your free will. Even in
Yeah.
email at work,
Hmm.
I was getting pulled into conversations and distractions rather it being like, "Hey, okay, I need to go work on this," or "Hey, now it's
Yeah.
time to do like a email deep dive."
Right.
And so I feel like that like it frees you up a little bit. And then
Hmm.
again, you can still scroll the feed for 3 hours, but it's
Yeah.
because you decided to
Yeah.
do
You
it
like, you can
instead.
do, like, you can stop yourself from whenever you want. But I remember being one of those people where it's like, there was like my phone buzzed and I was like, okay, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I
It's the
was
same
like
way.
so caught up in that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just learn that you don't need to check it right that
Right.
minute. Everything, like, it can wait.
Yeah.
Like, unless someone's like, it's an emergency, then like check it.
And you think you're missing out until you don't have it
Yeah.
and you realize so I did an example and it came from watching a TikTok video. They said turn it off for a day
Hmm.
and just see what you missed. And I was like, "Oh, I can't do it, can't do it." And I
Yeah.
did it for a day and realized I actually didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Like the world kept going.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything huge.
Nothing
And
happened.
so I'm like, I don't need to do it at that extent, but it did teach me like there was nothing that I really lost out on. Where
Yeah.
when you're in the moment, you're like, oh, I got to check. Oh, what is that? I need to know. I need to know. Where you're like, oh no, I
Yeah.
actually don't.
That's why I'm like grateful also for being in sports because like my schedule's so busy to where I'm like I'm forced not to be on my
Hmm.
phone. Like our coaches, they're like they don't want to see our phones at all at
Yeah.
workouts. They make us put it away, which I'm grateful for because like at water break you want to check it. You're like, okay, what
Yeah.
happened? Like it's like what time is it? It's like no, like just put away. We don't want to see. If you see it, like then you're in trouble. But it's like I just am constantly doing something to where I get home and it's like I don't really like
Yeah.
it's late. I got homework and then I'm going to bed. I'm just so tired and like I don't need to look at it. Or it's like I'll look at it super late and it's just like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Like my day went on fine. Like I saw everyone at school already. I saw my teammates. Like nothing else really interested happening.
That's a nice thing I feel like about the school year. And
Mhm.
even again, because I have a 16-year-old that I've seen the difference
Yeah.
between summer and school year. School year, your schedule is so full from
Yeah.
morning workouts to school to practice to getting home. Even as a parent, I don't need to monitor it all. It's the
Yeah.
summers where it's like,
Yeah. Summers is
ah,
kind of crazy. Like where you actually have too much free
yeah,
time. I remember my parents were like, leave it downstairs. Like, just go my parents would beg
Do
me to do something. They're
something.
like, I remember they begged me. They're like, you went to the gym? Yeah. I was like, no, they're like, go right now.
Yeah.
Get out of the house. Like,
Yeah.
they would beg me, like, you haven't seen your friend. Like, they'd beg me to go see my friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just really not in the mood. Like, love them to death. But it's like, I just really want to like hang out. Like, no, you need to get out of the house. Like,
Yeah.
you're just sitting watching TV. Like, I watched like so many series. Like, I just didn't really feel like doing anything. And it's just like, that's just your downtime. But it's like, I'm grateful for just like the busy schedule, just because it keeps me like I just have to be doing something.
So we have a new question that I added to this, and I stole it from All the Smoke. They asked kind of at the end of their episode, they asked for the person on the couch to give them the name
Okay.
of someone that they'd like to see on the podcast.
Okay.
And so I've introduced that same thing. And our small twist on it is obviously an athlete, but not in your sport. And so kind of
Okay.
the idea is, having athletes kind of recommend other athletes
Yeah.
across sports. So people
Okay.
that you see as like a high performing athlete in a sport that you don't play that you think would be an interesting conversation. Is there
Okay.
anyone for you that would fit that mold? Can be any school, can be boys or girls, but it can't be girls basketball.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I feel like she probably got recommended already, but we were talking about Jada from volleyball.
Yes.
Jada's been one of my best friends since we were younger. And like I've just known her and we've stayed in touch for such a long time. So she's doing great in volleyball and like she's been doing amazing in basketball too. But I definitely would like to hear more about like her journey with volleyball and just like the impact she's made because she got like a really big following off TikTok for volleyball. And I thought that was so cool because a lot of girls from out of state were taking pictures with her when they would
Hmm.
see her at tournaments. Like, oh my God, I just saw Jada. They call her Goggles.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make that known that we called her that first. But we like, it's just like so cool seeing her like thrive in that way.
Yeah.
So definitely would like to see her here or like one of my friends like Deja from Liberty Basketball.
Yeah.
So she's she's probably the tallest girl in female basketball here in high
Right.
school. So if you see her, that's Deja. Like she's great too. Like I love her. Been playing basketball with her forever. She's like probably I think the tallest girls basketball player in the Valley right now.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone else who's taller
I
than
don't
her.
think so.
Because there was Aaliyah, but then
Yeah.
she's in college, but like in high school, yeah, I think it's just Asia.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's all my tall friend.
Got it. Okay. And I talked to Jada. And so Jada, that's just another reminder. But
I want to see her, Jada.
yeah, she'd mentioned coming on. But I think that'd be a great conversation.
Yeah.
And again, her journey and how her following, again, especially
Yeah.
off of TikTok exploded. And I think that's a interesting conversation that there's a couple other people in that space that I've wanted to ask about that. Because again, as a high school athlete to now all of a sudden go viral, right?
Yeah.
Like to talk about like what that's like and then how you can take that and help that
Exactly.
catapult your sports career,
Yeah,
right?
like
And now you have this following and like what?
It's so cool.
Yeah.
She kind of went through the same thing I did too. Like she stopped playing, but she didn't play basketball
Yeah.
last year. I
Took a
didn't play
year
basketball.
off. Yeah.
Like so we both went through that, but then she thrived so well in volleyball. Like I wish I was good at another sport, but I'm
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah.
I'm just good at the one sport. I'll just stick to what I'm good at. But no, it was just so cool seeing her seeing her just be so happy and like we still kept in touch and like I saw her like at the Liberty football game like a couple weeks ago. So like I definitely like to hear what she has to say about
Okay.
volleyball.
Perfect. All right. So I want people to be able to find you on social media. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you this camera.
Okay.
I'm going to have you look into the camera
Okay.
and give them your Instagram handle
Make sure like I remember that.
and see where people can find you. And then we'll like overlay it on the screen so people can see it and they can
Okay. Yeah.
come and follow you. So that's your
Okay.
camera. So I'll give you
All
that
right.
one.
Hey guys, so my Instagram is _Sydney SYDNEY dot period RC. Just my initials at the end.
Okay, perfect. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank
I think this
you.
was a great conversation. Again, I've been following your basketball journey, but being able to sit down and like talk about some of the behind the scenes, your relationship with your sister, and like getting to learn more about you as a student athlete and just a
Mhm.
person, I think has been great and kind of why we've been doing all this, getting, people the opportunity to like not just see the highlights, to
Yeah.
really learn about you and like now be able to follow you and like get to experience that story and like your journey as you transition to
Thank
college, I think
you.
is super cool and super
Yeah.
important.
Thank you. It was actually a really cool experience. Like this is like I've never been exposed to anything like this before. So I thought that was really cool. And like you asking the questions and me actually being able to like share my story a little bit. It's really nice. Like everyone can hear and like I'll bring my sister next time. So that'll be really
Yeah.
fun too.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. We also thank you guys for watching. Again, my name's Drew Jackson. This is Anything for Sports podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Anything for Sports and on YouTube at Anything for Sports TV. And we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you very much.